Attack on Titan, the legendary show, has finally come to its end. With over 10 years on top, the iconic franchise officially said its goodbye this week. The original manga that concluded in 2021 received quite a bit of criticism for its controversial ending. Many fans had issues with how Isayama decided to end the story. With that being said, Isayama actually added some changes to the ending in the anime version. So, was it good? No. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm anime only. I've heard little bits here and there about the manga's ending in the last couple days, but I never read the manga, so I'm not looking at it from a comparative perspective or point of view. My main experience with the story is the anime. The ending fails in 3 key areas in my opinion. The first being its main character, Eren. Why is Eren doing the rumbling? What the fuck does being a slave to freedom mean? If he can change the past by telling his father to kill the royal family, why can't he change the future? Well, you would think that the past is more set in stone than the future, right? And honestly, regardless of the answer, it's just very poorly explained. Eren is just a confused and oxymoronic character. On one hand, he's supposed to be a stone cold killer with the rumbling, and next he's crying about Mikasa and giving up about changing anything. While some may say it's complexity and meant to show the duality of man, in reality it just comes off as very inconsistent writing and feels like the mangaka didn't know what to do with the character. He went from a tragic fallen hero who was hardened by the countless loved ones he lost to a confused emotional mess of a character who has no resolve or agency in his actions. Even the way they beat Eren was very unsatisfying as fuck. How did Mikasa know that Eren was in the mouth? It's taken longer to kill some abnormals in fucking season 1, but Eren gets punched by Armin, teeth destroyed by Mikasa and killed just like that? The strongest Titan of all time, I'm assuming. Killed just like that. While other characters did have good endings, I think Eren got shafted the most. What a shit character. Ymir is just a straight up terrible character. A nothing burger. One of the most cliche formulaic characters in the manga. A slave who gains immeasurable powers stays subservient to her master. She has kids with him, stays with her oppressor her whole life and sacrifices herself for him. Why? Because she loved him. That's all there is to the founding Titan and the history of Titans as a whole. This kind of breaks the previously established part of the lore. Ymir is essentially the earliest recorded case of Stockholm Syndrome in this world. The parallels drawn between her and Mikasa just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what Isayama's idea of love is, but apparently it's very different. I get the whole it's meant to be complex thing, but what we doing here, man? What we doing here? And even if the Stockholm shit wasn't weird, Ymir is still a badly written character. Why was Mikasa the example she needed to break out of her trauma / love, I guess? For 2,000 years there weren't any other relationships she could relate to. Is Mikasa's relationship with Eren really that unique? This just comes off as the mangaka not being sure about how to wrap up a relationship plot point. It's just bad. One aspect of the finale that is never good in any anime, let alone Attack on Titan, are the Fakeout deaths. John, Connie, and pretty much all of the remaining cast parents are turned into Titans. It was a beautiful and tragic scene with John and Connie going out like the legends of the Scout Regiment. It was a bold decision from a writing perspective and added so much to the ending. That decision is just turned back on and it turns out to be a fake out. And to make it even worse, all the shifters that have limited lifespans are fine and will live long lives. Another huge aspect of those characters is just thrown to the wayside. I've heard people hate Reiner's final scene, sniffing the letter. Alright, I'll be honest, I didn't really care about it too much. Sure, it's a little cringe and he's acting like a bum, but I don't think it's that important of a scene in the grand scheme of things. I think characters like Mikasa being pretty one note and having basically no substance in the anime is much bigger of a talking point. Although I do agree that Reiner scene was pretty cringe. Eren doing all that crying about Mikasa was... There's some L's around, I'll be honest, there's some L's around. Now that that's out of the way, I do want to talk about some goods because this was one of my favorite shows for the past 10 years. So I'm not just gonna drop a video after it finishes hating on the whole ending and not even bring up some of the positives. That's a little too shameless. While there were aspects of this finale that I didn't like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it was terrible like the Game of Thrones finale. An aspect of this show that I feel like doesn't get mentioned enough is the production. The production has always been amazing in Attack on Titan. The animation, save for a few weird CGI moments, has always been 10 out of 10. The score and soundtrack might be the best in all of animation. Attack on Titan is top 5 at the very least when it comes to music. The openings and endings are also bangers. The performances of the voice actors are great in the sub and the dub, which is pretty rare even today. Some of my favourites being Erwin, Levi and Armin in both. Even the posters and promo are cool. Anything production related in the show is a 10 out of 10 and it really deserves its flowers. Like I said in the last video, a lot of the anime that are considered decent shows generally excel in one or two areas at most. Either animation, music or story. You rarely get the ones that can do all three, and we all know the shows that can. Even if I have a problem with the ending, most of the writing in the show was great up until now. I can confidently say Attack on Titan was hitting all three of them for a while. The best part of the finale has to be Levi. That callback to No Regrets, man, heart-wrenching. His relationship with Eren and his conflicted feelings on him, the resolve and leadership that he showed in the mission to kill Eren, his relentlessness in the mission, and finally the poetic death scene of Zeke, and just the monologue where he was thinking about Erwin, man. And just to top it all off, when it's all said and done and he's completed his mission, he finally gets a breather to think about his lost comrades and sheds a tear. It was a beautiful end for a great character, and almost made the whole show worth watching just for that scene. And while I don't really like how it was done, I think Eren dying was pretty much the only way to end it. That entire segment was just beautiful. The way they like shift the perspective for Mikasa to be holding his head, so you don't really know that she beheaded him, but obviously you do. It was done so symbolically, and it's probably the most peaceful death in the show, maybe outside of Zeke's, which was peaceful in a different way. It was just cinema. It was perfectly done. And regardless of what I or anyone else thinks, right, this show was legendary and will go down as one of the most iconic series of all time. And for those of you who are old enough to remember like me, you can recall a time when anime was nowhere near as popular as it is now. Out of all of the up and comers, a new age show breaks out into superstardom and helps popularize anime as a whole. Before JJK, Chainsaw Man, ReZero, My Hero Academia, and even One Punch Man, there was Attack on Titan. What a great 10 years. So yeah, don't quote me on any of the facts on this one. I recorded this a day after watching the episode. This is just raw thoughts and emotions and reaction right after the episode. I just still can't believe Attack on Titan's done. This show started airing when Breaking Bad was still on TV. Game of Thrones was in its best seasons. It's like when a good movie series, like when John Wick finished with the last one. You lose like a pillar of the entertainment community. I don't know, maybe I'm getting a bit too emotional on this whole. Thanks for watching. If you need a new show to replace Attack on Titan now that it's finished, watch this right over here.